Okay, in this lecture now, as we said in the previous lecture, we're gonna come back to the number pressed and work on it so that it takes care of other variables that we have not taken care of, such as the number of digits, the current stored number, the previous stored number. We have to work on this and also update the total, okay? So obviously you can just come here and we're gonna keep the current number pressed with the sender.tag. That's important. However, we're going to remove these two lines below, okay? We don't need these anymore because the label screen.text was just the number as text. That was just for the sake of seeing the labeled screen to get updated. So remove those two lines, okay? And let's start coding. Now we're going to switch on the current operation. So depending on the value of the current operation, we're going to do different things, okay? So switch current operation, okay? Okay, don't forget the parentheses. Okay, and what we're going to do here is handle the case when there's nothing that got pressed. Okay, case none. So what do we do when the case is none? We do the current. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me press enter. That's going to be easier to see. Current stored number is going to be equal to the value of, okay, I'm sorry, it's current stored number is going to be equal to the value of the current stored number multiplied by 10. Why? Why do we multiply the current stored number by 10? Because basically every time somebody clicks on a number, you want to push the current number that's here to the left. So basically, but to push it to the left, you have to multiply it by 10. And next time, if you push again, you multiply that number by 10 again. So it's going to be 10, 100, 1000. So every time you click a number, this has to be pushed to the left. Okay, so you multiply by 10. And then what do? You add the current number that the person is clicking or pressing on. So we're going to add the current number pressed, obviously, right? However, this is not going to work because the current number pressed is an integer and this current stored number is a double, so it has a different type. So we need to convert the integer to the same type, so we convert it to a double. Okay, so basically we're just saying that instead of being a whole number, it's more than a whole number. It could be also a decimal number now. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now we just have to update the total and say the total is going to be equal to the current stored number. Okay. All right, now let's work on the case, on the other cases, okay? Actually, the other cases are going to be very similar. I'm just going to do a copy and paste on that, okay? So it's actually going to be the exact same thing, okay? And this time, instead of putting known, I'm going to put the other ones, which are going to be add, okay? Then there's also going to be, so I'm going to put a comma to show you that you can actually put them on the same line if they do the exact same thing, okay? Multiply, then it's also going to be minus, okay, and then obviously it's going to be divide as well. All right, okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to keep it on this line, okay, and now let's work on the case when it's the dot. Okay, so first of all, let me align this just for the sake of keeping consistency on the syntax. Okay, now case dot, so whenever we press the dot, what do? We check if, let me put a column, my bad, there we go. So what are we going to check? If we're going to check if the number of decimal digits is less than 1. So basically if it's a whole number, what do? Obviously we're going to say that the number of decimal digits, this number of decimal digits is going to be equal to 1, okay? So technically, whenever we press the dot, we want to have the number of decimal digits to start with 1, okay? So that's basically what we're saying, okay? So as soon as you click on dot, that means that we have to add decimals. So the number of decimal digits have to be 1, right? Okay, excellent. Then otherwise, what can we do else? So if it's not, if the number of the decimal digit is not 1, or it's not less than 1, that means that we already have digits, we already have decimal digits. So we just need to add to it. How do we do that? Else we let me just put this here. Okay, all right. This time we're gonna be number of decimal digits is equal to itself, so the number of decimal digits multiplied by 10. Okay, so you can put this in parentheses if you want. Okay, so basically we are shifting the number of decimal digits to the right by multiplying by 10. So now we need to create the operation. Okay, so the operation, we're gonna create a value, say let the decimal to add equal, and here we're going to say that we want the current number pressed. So basically the number that we're pressing right now, we divide it by 10 times the number of digits. So that's basically what we're doing here. We're dividing the current number by the number of digits, which basically is going to shift it to the right. Okay, so for those of you that are more math inclined, you probably understand exactly what's going on. If you guys are not too much into math, then just take this for granted. We basically are divided a number by a bigger number, which basically makes something smaller, which becomes decimals. Okay, however, this is not going to work because this is an integer and this is a double, so what we got to do is convert everything. So let's convert them. Okay, so how do we convert them? It's pretty straightforward. We're going to say double here. Okay, so we're making doubles out of this. Okay, and here we're going to add this and say double here as well. All right, and close the parentheses. Okay, so there's a lot more parentheses, so let me push this like that so you guys can see better. All right, okay, so now we actually have a double divided by a double. That's good. Okay, and now we're gonna say the current stored number is gonna receive that value. Okay, so it's gonna be equal to itself plus that small decimal plus the decimal to add. All right, and that's pretty much it. Now let's add this to the total. Total is going to be equal to the current stored number. All right, and that's pretty much it for the case dot. So let me just do some cosmetic work here and align these. Okay, and then we see that we have case known, case add, multiply, minus, divide, case dot. We're missing the case when it's default, so when it's none of the above. So I'm just going to write default. Okay, and here what we're going to put is when it's the default, we're going to say that the total is equal to total plus 0. So basically nothing's going to happen. Okay, all right, and this is going to go away. Excellent, that means that we have everything correct. Okay, so at this point the last thing we want to do is, once this is all done, we want to update the screen. Okay, so we want to update the display. Why? Because we want to be able to see the new values, right? If we don't call the update display screen, we're never going to see the new total that we calculated here. Okay, so make sure you call the update display screen. Okay, so at this point we are pretty much done. The only thing we want is, in the next lecture, is add the clear functionality. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember, whenever you click here, you need to reset this to be 0 and remove the stored values and stuff like that. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the